If you are any type of self-respecting whiskey fan and you find yourself in Dublin, then you have to make a visit to here, the Celtic Whiskey Shop on Dawson Street. For the past 21 years, Celtic Whiskey has been Ireland's leading independent retailer, wholesaler and distributor of fine wines and spirits. Founded by Scotsman Ali Alpine in 2003, it's also somewhere I'm proud to say that I spent 3 years of my career working in. So I'm delighted to be back to try one of the store's own independent bottlings, the multi-award-winning Celtic Cask. I just hope they don't remember it was my turn to clean the jacks before I left. Hey guys, I'm back! Oh, beans. Oh my god! It's on the ceiling! Ah. Why didn't they give me gloves and a plunger?
Don't show your game before it's in your hand. Don't expose your mind. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand do. Don't expose your mind.
The Celtic Whiskey Shop has one of the biggest selections of Irish whiskey anywhere in the world, and when you walk through these doors you'll find whiskies you'll find nowhere else. Exclusives from Teeling, Redbreast, Middleton, Fercullen, Powers, new brands, up and coming brands, established brands. But one thing that makes this shop famous is the own in-house bottling, the Celtic Cask range, and that's available, it's all the way up there. The Celtic Cask range consists of single cask offerings of independently bottled and matured Irish whiskey that's been sourced from many of the distilleries around the country. In the case of Celtic Cask number 52, it's been produced at a very, very old distillery in the north of the country. Legally, they actually aren't allowed to tell you what distillery it's from, but I'm no longer bound by that, so I can tell you that it's from Bushfuck! That's right, from the Bushfuck distillery. Celtic Cask number 52 was distilled in 2007 and then recast in 2013 into a 500 litre Amontillado sherry cask from Emilio Hidalgo Sherry Bodega. Amontillado is a style of sherry that's not quite as fruity as an Oloroso, but it's not quite as dry as a Fino, so there's a good balance of flavours in there. It's a style of cask that you don't often see in whiskey, Irish whiskey anyway, so the flavours that it brings are quite unique and there's not much out there that's comparable to this. Celtic Cask Quaigado is limited to just 397 bottles, each bottled at the natural cask strength of 56.8%, so it is quite strong but it's incredibly flavourful. So let's give it a go. So because this has spent about 10 years aging in a Amontillado sherry cask, there's a real nuttiness to it and also a lovely spiciness to it. I'd actually say that there's not as much fruitiness compared to some of the other sherry cask aged whiskies that you would find out there, but that's not a bad thing. I think when you're using not as common a cask type, it adds a little bit of a different dimension to your whiskey without going into the realm of novelty for novelty's sake. Amontillado sherry is a fantastic style of sherry, but I wouldn't say that you see it as often as maybe Oloroso or even your cream sherries, which would be a bit more popular. Seeing it used in a whiskey is a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and I think the great thing about Celtic whiskey as a whole is the fact that by being an importer of not just spirits but also wine, they have access to so many great casks from so many great sherry houses and wine producers. So the question is, why would you buy an independently bottled version of a whiskey rather than whiskey from the distillery itself? Well, when you're part of a huge distillery, when you're a big brand, that comes with a lot of expectations. So you don't really have the luxury of doing small little boutique releases because the people who make the whiskey aren't the ones who decide what gets released. It's the people who market it that do. So when there's a gap in the market for a particular style of whiskey, a marketing department will say to the production department, what have you got? With an independent bottler, they're not bound by any of that. They can produce what they want because they think it's good. When Celtic Whiskey releases a whiskey, as we did when I was here, we released it because we thought it was ready. We'd sample as we went. We'd try whiskies as they age, and when something had reached its peak, we'd decide to pull it from the casks and then get it bottled. Celtic Cask 52 is a great encapsulation of everything that I love about Celtic whiskey, both from when I worked here and now as a customer. It's some of the best whiskey that's produced anywhere in the island of Ireland, and it's aged in some of the best casks that you'll find from anywhere over the continent of Europe. Although this is only available in Celtic Whiskey Shop itself, if you can't get into them, although you really should if you're ever in Dublin, you can actually order this online through the link below. Available for a price of $199.50. If you tell them Darren sent you, you can get it for the price of $199.50. And that's Celtic Cask 52. So thank you so much to Celtic Whiskey for having me back in to try it. Be sure to come back here every Friday for more videos. Subscribe, like and comment. And don't forget, at the end of the day, this tastes like... Oh, come on!